Once upon a time, nestled between the vast savannah, alive with golden grass under the relentless sun, and the looming shadows of distant blue mountains, lay a village where the winds carried whispers of stories old and new. In this village lived an old man named Kwesi, a figure woven into the fabric of the community like the roots of the ancient baobab tree that stood at its heart. Kwesi, whose hair had long turned the color of the mountain mists and whose hands bore the maps of many seasons, was revered not just for his age but for his wisdom. This wisdom was not of books and letters but of the land and its spirits, of the rain and its caprices, and of the stars and their secrets. Since the days of his youth, when he roamed these plains with the love of his life by his side, he had watched over the village. But fate, as fickle as the paths of the wandering rivers, had taken his love away, leaving him to walk his later years alone, a custodian of memories and traditions. Kwesi's home was a modest hut adorned with the symbols of his tribe, patterns that spoke of the earth and sky, and of the cycles of life and death. His days were spent in quiet solitude or in the company of fellow elders, discussing the nuances of seasons past or the subtleties of an impending reign. Yet, his was a life of rhythm, punctuated by the villagers' celebrations and sorrows alike, as he remained an unyielding pillar of wisdom and tradition. As the time of the annual harvest festival approached, an event that marked the end of dry spells and the bounty of the earth, the entire village buzzed with preparations. Women and men alike toiled under the sun, decorating their huts with swathes of colorful cloth and crafting intricate masks and beadworks to wear. The air was thick with the scent of roasting meats and the sound of drums being prepared for the nights of dance and song that would soon follow. It was amidst these preparations that Kwesi first noticed Ama, a young woman whose spirit seemed as free as the winds that danced across the savannah. Ama, with her vibrant laughter and eyes bright with dreams, had recently returned to the village after years in the city where she had gone to learn the ways of the world beyond their lands. She brought with her ideas as fresh as the morning dew, and a determination to meld these new learnings with the wisdom of her ancestors. Kwesi and Ama's paths crossed under the ancient baobab tree, where the old man often sat to escape the midday sun. Ama, who had heard tales of Kwesi's deep knowledge, approached him with a respect that bridged the gap of their years. She asked him about the traditions of the harvest festival, about the songs that would be sung and the dances that would be danced. The old man, pleased by her interest, began to share stories of festivals past, of the times when the rains had been generous and the times when the earth had been stingy. With each tale, Ama listened, her mind weaving the threads of history with the possibilities of tomorrow. Her questions were thoughtful, sparking debates that stretched into the cooling evenings, with only the stars to listen. Their conversations soon became a regular occurrence, with Ama bringing ideas of new farming techniques and community projects, and Kwesi offering insights on how these could be integrated into the existing fabric of their culture. It was a meeting of minds and of generations, each learning from the other, each growing richer in understanding. The villagers, observing this burgeoning camaraderie, whispered among themselves, some with nods of approval, others with brows furrowed in skepticism. Yet, the winds of change, once set in motion, cared little for the doubts of men and women. They whispered through the grasses and rustled the leaves of the baobab, weaving a story of their own, a story of an old man and a young woman, of tradition and innovation, of a past remembered and a future imagined. As the festival drew near, their collaboration became more evident. Kwesi, who had once stood slightly apart from the festivities, found himself at the heart of the planning, his experience guiding the younger members, his stories enriching the tapestry of their preparations. Ama, with her youthful energy and fresh perspectives, infused the old rituals with a new vibrancy, proving that even the most ancient of traditions could dance to the rhythm of modern beats. In this way, the story of Kwesi and Ama began, under the watchful eyes of the baobab tree, in a village caught between the golden plains and the blue mountains, where the old greeted the new not with fear but with a hopeful embrace, and where every wind carried the promise of stories yet to be told. As the harvest festival approached, the entire village was swept up in a flurry of activity. The golden savanna grass seemed to shimmer with anticipation, and the distant mountains stood as silent witnesses to the unfolding preparations. Women busily decorated their homes with vibrant cloths, while men gathered in the central square to practice their drum beats, creating rhythms that echoed off the hills like heartbeat of the earth. In the midst of this bustling activity, Kwesi, the village's respected elder, found himself increasingly involved, his days filled with more interaction than they had been for years. Ama, the young woman with ideas as fresh as the morning after a rainfall, became his constant companion in these preparations. Together, they walked through the village, observing and occasionally directing the setup for the festival. Ama's youthful vigor and innovative ideas blended seamlessly with Kwesi's traditional knowledge, creating a dynamic duo that the village had never seen before. One warm afternoon, under the shade of the same ancient baobab tree where they had first conversed, Kwesi and Ama discussed the layout for the festival's marketplace. Ama proposed integrating a section where young entrepreneurs from the village could showcase products that incorporated both traditional crafts and modern techniques she had learned in the city. Kwesi listened thoughtfully, nodding in agreement, recognizing the value in Ama's vision of fusing the old with the new to create something unique and valuable. Their discussion was interrupted by the arrival of several children, their faces painted with colorful designs, who were eager to show Kwesi the dance they had learned for the festival. With a gentle smile, he encouraged them, clapping in time to their steps, his eyes twinkling with pride. Ama watched this interaction with admiration, seeing the love and respect the community held for Kwesi. It was clear that his endorsement bridged any gap that might have existed between the older and younger generations. The preparations took on a new meaning with each passing day, as Kwesi and Ama shared not just tasks but stories and laughter. Their ease with each other was evident, drawing more of the villagers into their fold. The community began to notice how Ama looked to Kwesi for approval and how he, in turn, gave careful consideration to her ideas, valuing them as much as the traditions he held dear. As the festival drew closer, the entire village worked like a well-oiled machine, their efforts coordinated by Kwesi and Ama's joint leadership. The older villagers, initially skeptical of Ama's city-bred innovations, gradually warmed to her as they saw her genuine respect for their customs and her enthusiasm for enhancing them with her knowledge. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with strokes of orange and pink, Kwesi and Ama sat together finalizing the list of performances for the festival. They decided to start with the traditional drum call, followed by dances from various age groups, and culminating in a new dance choreographed by Ama that incorporated elements from traditional and contemporary styles. The night before the festival, the village gathered for a final rehearsal under the starlit sky. Kwesi watched, his heart full, as Ama led the young dancers through their paces, her commands gentle yet firm. The drummers, old men with hands as tough as the leather of their drums, followed her cues with a respect that transcended her youth, their beats syncing perfectly with the dancers' movements. It was a beautiful sight, the merging of generations and ideas, under the vast African sky. Kwesi felt a surge of pride, not just in Ama but in his community's ability to embrace change while honoring their heritage. As the rehearsal came to an end, the villagers left for their homes, their voices carrying through the night, filled with excitement and anticipation for the morrow. The festival promised to be a memorable one, with Kwesi and Ama at the heart of it, a testament to the villagers' spirit of unity and the powerful synergy of tradition and innovation. Their partnership had not only enriched the festival's traditions but had also brought the village closer, weaving new threads into the fabric of their community life. As the festival neared, the atmosphere in the village was electric, charged with a mix of anticipation and excitement. The nights were vibrant with the sounds of final preparations, the rhythmic hammering of drum skins being tightened, the melodic chattering of women weaving the last of the decorative cloths, and children giggling as they practiced their steps in the shadows of the huts. In the midst of this bustle, a significant conversation was taking place under the ancient baobab tree, where Kwesi and Ama sat with the village elder, Nana Kojo. Nana Kojo, A man whose age was betrayed only by the wisdom in his eyes and the stories etched into the lines of his face, had observed the growing bond between Kwesi and Ama. With a thoughtful frown, he broached a topic that had been on his mind for many days. "Kwesi, Ama," he began, his voice as deep and steady as the river that flowed past the village, "the connection between you two has not gone unnoticed. It is a rare thing, this bridge you are building between the wisdom of the old and the vigor of the new. Our village could benefit from such a union, not just in spirit, but formally, through marriage." Kwesi looked at Ama, surprise and contemplation mingling in his gaze. Ama, her cheeks flushed with the glow of the evening fire, met his eyes with a steady, understanding look. The proposal, while unexpected, did not seem entirely out of place under the vast, star-filled sky that had witnessed so many of the village's unions and celebrations. Nana Kojo continued, "Such a marriage would not just be a personal joy, but a symbol of our village's strength and the harmony we can achieve between our cherished traditions and the new paths we must forge to thrive in changing times." The air seemed to still as the elder spoke, his words settling over them like the gentle night. Villagers nearby, pretending to be absorbed in their tasks, listened intently, sensing the importance of this moment. Kwesi, ever the contemplator, took a moment before responding. "Nana Kojo, your words are weighty, and the honor you propose is not one I take lightly. Ama is like a new dawn, bright and full of promise. I have come to respect and admire her, not just for her mind but for her spirit and heart." Turning to Ama, Kwesi asked, "What say you, Ama? Such a decision is not mine alone to make. It involves your life, your dreams, and your path." Ama, who had always held a deep respect for tradition yet a firm belief in progress, took her time to respond. "Kwesi, Nana Kojo," she began, her voice clear and sure, "I came back to our village to bring change, to help us grow. What better way to embody the unity we seek than to join my life with someone who has taught me so much about where we come from? If Kwesi is willing, I would be honored to walk this path with him." The elder nodded, a slow, satisfied smile spreading across his face. The news of this proposed union spread through the village like a fresh breeze, stirring up a whirlwind of chatter and speculation. Some welcomed it as a refreshing blend of old and new, while others hesitated, wary of the changes it might bring. Over the next few days, as the festival drew ever closer, discussions about Kwesi and Ama's potential marriage wove through the preparations. The topic was debated around cooking fires, discussed amidst the clacking of looms, and pondered over the soft thuds of pestles in mortars. The consensus, however, gradually leaned towards favor. The villagers began to see the wisdom in Nana Kojo's words. The marriage could be a powerful symbol of unity and progression, a beacon for other communities to follow. The night before the festival, the village held a small gathering under the twinkling expanse of the night sky. Elders spoke of the importance of unity and the strength found in diversity. Young people shared their hopes for the village's future, their words imbued with the energy of possibility. Kwesi and Ama stood together, their hands linked, their faces lit by the flickering light of the communal fires, embodying the very union of past and future they discussed. Their speeches were heartfelt, addressing the community's concerns and hopes. Kwesi spoke of respect for tradition and the wisdom it held, while Ama talked about the opportunities that change could bring. Together, they painted a picture of a village that could both cherish its roots and reach for the stars. By the end of the night, the village, moved by the sincerity and depth of their vision, gave their blessing. The decision was celebrated with music and laughter, setting the stage for a festival that would be remembered not just for its joy and color but for the new journey it heralded for Kwesi and Ama. This union, decided under the vast African sky, promised to guide the village into a future where tradition and change danced together in harmony. The day of the harvest festival arrived with a sunrise that painted the sky in brilliant shades of orange and pink, reflecting the new beginnings that the day promised. Villagers, dressed in their finest traditional attire interwoven with modern accents that Ama had introduced, gathered in the central square, which was alive with color and sound. Stalls lined the edges, displaying crafts that melded ancient techniques with new designs, and the air was fragrant with the aroma of traditional dishes prepared with a twist of innovation. Kwesi and Ama, now the center of everyone's attention, moved through the crowd, their presence like a beacon of unity. Kwesi, dressed in a robe that carried the symbols of the village's ancestors, embroidered with new patterns designed by Ama, greeted the elders with respect and warmth. Ama, wearing a vibrant dress that flowed like the river, her hair adorned with beads that caught the light of the morning sun, was a vision of the future they were stepping into. As the drummers began their call, a deep resonant sound that seemed to pull at the very soul of the village, the festivities officially started. The first performance was a traditional dance, the dancers' feet beating the dust in rhythm, their bodies moving in an age-old narrative of struggle and triumph. This was followed by performances from the younger villagers, including a contemporary dance piece choreographed by Ama, which blended traditional movements with modern music, symbolizing the fusion of past and present. The festival was not just a celebration of the harvest but became a platform for expressing the villagers' journey through Kwesi and Ama's story. Every dance, every song, every display carried elements of both heritage and progression. The older villagers watched, some with teary eyes, as they saw their traditions preserved yet refreshed in the hands of the younger generation. Midway through the day, Nana Kojo called for attention and the crowd gathered around the central stage. Kwesi and Ama stepped forward, hand in hand, their faces alight with the day's joy and the future's promise. Nana Kojo spoke eloquently about the village's history, the challenges it had faced, and the new paths it was forging. He highlighted Kwesi and Ama's impending union as a symbol of this new era, where respect for the past and the courage to embrace the future would coexist. This festival, Nana Kojo announced, is not only a celebration of the bounty we have been granted this year but also of the bountiful future we anticipate. Let us mark this day as the beginning of that journey, with Kwesi and Ama leading us. The announcement was met with cheers and applause, the community's approval ringing loud and clear. Musicians struck up a lively tune, and the festival resumed with renewed vigor, the mood elevated by the shared sense of purpose and excitement for what was to come. As the day turned into evening, the golden light softened, casting long shadows on the ground and adding a magical quality to the festivities. Lanterns were lit, casting a warm glow over the faces of the villagers. The final event was a grand feast, tables laden with food prepared from the harvest and dishes that Ama had introduced, using ingredients grown from the new agricultural techniques she had promoted. During the feast, Kwesi stood up to address the community. His voice, strong yet imbued with emotion, carried over the gathered villagers. Today, we celebrate more than our harvest. We celebrate our heritage and our future. Ama and I are grateful for your blessings. Together, we will walk a path that honors every step taken by our ancestors and every step that will be taken by those who follow us. Ama joined him, her voice resonant with conviction. Our journey together is a testament to what we can achieve as a community. Each of us, young and old, carries the spirit of this village. Let's continue to weave our stories together, creating a tapestry rich with history and vibrant with potential. The feast turned into a night of dancing, the community united in their celebration and in their support for Kwesi and Ama. The elders' wise words and the young woman's visionary ideas had intertwined to create a powerful narrative of continuity. As the moon climbed high into the night sky, the festival drew to a close, leaving the villagers with a sense of fulfillment and anticipation. The bonds formed and strengthened during the day promised a collective stride towards a future where the past was revered and the new embraced with open arms. The festival, under the vast African sky, ended not with a whisper but with a chorus of voices, young and old, echoing through the night, singing songs of gratitude for the harvest, of hope for the marriage to come, and of commitment to a future where tradition and innovation would dance together in harmony, guided by the wisdom of Kwesi and the innovative spirit of Ama. As dawn broke over the village following the festival, the first gentle rays of sunlight peeked through the leaves of the baobab tree, casting mottled shadows on the ground where the festivities had taken place. The air was still, filled with the lingering echoes of laughter and music, a testament to the night's joy and unity. Kwesi and Ama, now revered not only for their individual qualities but also for the promise they held together, began their day with a walk through the village. The path they took wound through the marketplace, past the stalls that were still adorned with the vibrant colors of the festival, reminders of the community's shared labor and love. Each step they took was a step into their future roles within the village, greeted by smiles and nods from their fellow villagers, their approval and support palpable. Their first stop was at the newly established Learning Center, a project close to Ama's heart, where modern books mingled with ancient scrolls, symbolizing the bridge between old knowledge and new ideas. Here, they discussed plans for expanding the curriculum to include more about sustainable farming techniques and local history, ensuring that education in the village balanced the wisdom of the past with the innovations necessary for the future. Kwesi, with his deep knowledge of the village's history and traditions, contributed by organizing sessions where the elders would share stories and lessons with the younger generations. Ama facilitated discussions on how these traditional practices could be enhanced by modern technology and new agricultural methods that she had studied in the city. As the day progressed, they visited the fields around the village, where the results of Ama's new farming techniques were evident in the robust health of the crops. The fields, once only tended according to the old ways, now thrived with a mix of traditional crops and new varieties, demonstrating the successful integration of old and new methodologies. Here, Kwesi and Ama spoke with the farmers, listening to their experiences and encouraging a continuous exchange of ideas to foster an environment of learning and adaptation. Their next visit was to the workshop area, where craftsmen and women worked on blending traditional crafts with innovative designs to create products that could be sold not just in local markets but also in towns and cities beyond the village boundaries. Ama's influence was visible in the new tools and methods being used, while Kwesi's presence ensured that these changes remained rooted in the cultural significance of their craft. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, the couple convened a meeting with the village council to discuss the outcomes of the festival and the plans for the future. They laid out a vision for the village that included strengthening educational resources, expanding the market's reach, and continuing to enhance agricultural productivity through sustainable practices. The council, inspired by the success of the festival and the promise of Kwesi and Ama's leadership, pledged their full support. The afternoon was spent with the village's youth, where Kwesi and Ama led a session under the baobab tree, discussing the importance of respecting heritage while embracing change. They encouraged the young people to dream big but also to remain grounded in the values and traditions of their ancestors. The session ended with a collaborative activity, where everyone planted new seedlings around the village, symbolizing the growth and renewal they all hoped for. As evening approached, Kwesi and Ama returned to the central square, where the community gathered once again, this time in a quieter, more reflective assembly. The couple shared their gratitude for the trust and support shown by the village and outlined their commitment to lead with integrity and inclusiveness. They spoke of their upcoming marriage as not just a union of two people but as a covenant with the entire community to steward the village towards prosperity and harmony. The day closed with a simple ceremony under the stars, where Kwesi and Ama were formally engaged in the presence of the village elders and their families. The engagement, marked by traditional rituals and blessings, was deeply symbolic, intertwining their personal commitment with their public responsibilities. As the villagers dispersed, a sense of contentment settled over the community. The torches that flickered around the square cast a soft, hopeful light, mirroring the stars above that had silently witnessed the day's promises and the reaffirmation of the villagers' path forward. Kwesi and Ama stood together, hand in hand, looking at the stars, their hearts full of dreams for their future together and for the village. They knew the road ahead would be filled with challenges, but they also knew that with the support of their community, and through the balance of honoring the past while embracing the future, they could achieve anything. The night whispered of potential, of unity, and of a tomorrow filled with the promise of growth and new beginnings, guided by the love and leadership of a couple who had captured the heart of their village.